Son's name, amen.
All right, good morning. All right, Madam Attorney. Right, Madam? Okay. I said that before I looked up. It's a habit. Can we move into a reasonable opportunity for the public to be heard?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
All right, I have no one signed up for the non-public hearing items. For the non-public hearing items. All right, so reasonable opportunity is now closed. Madam Attorney, let's set the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Chair. There are a number of items on your changes list. The majority of these are supplements to the existing items, and then there is one new item, item 2B.
Do you need to read them, or can we go ahead and set the agenda?
Would you like me to read the item 2B, the title, or?
Please go ahead.
Item 2B is a resolution directing the county mayor's designee to solicit vendors for the provision of sandbags during declared states of emergency, establishing a minimum scope of work for such solicitation, requiring such solicitation conform with reimbursement requirements under the Stafford Act. And a motion to set the agenda would now be in order.
All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Cohen-Higgins, seconded by the Vice Chair. All in favor of setting the agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. All right, show the agenda here set. All right, Madam Attorney, please read the first items, I guess 1F1.
Item 1F1 is a discussion item regarding countywide streetlight maintenance.
All right, guys, look, this is simple. I just put it on the agenda because, to discuss this item, because I've been receiving so many calls from residents, and I mean it. Sometimes we say that to yeah, your mother is one of them, Commissioner Cabrera. She actually is. But you know, there's too many lights throughout the county that are just not working, and I'm tired of running into people and them telling me this. Not to mention that I see it myself, because one of the long streets, 127th Avenue, is I take almost every day as I go home. So look, I just want the administration to come back for the next policy council meeting with a full report on the street light contract and what's going on with it. I mean, just load it with information, because we have to look at this more carefully and see what's next.
Happy to do so, Chairman, happy to do.
Yeah. Look, I have a list of questions, a list of things, but at the end of the day, I just need a full report to come back to this committee, and then we'll have a more in-depth discussion here. All right. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for putting this on the agenda. Within District 8, on 112th Avenue through 184th Street on the US 1 corridor, since September, we have had not one, not two, not three, not four, but 35 street lights that have been out and inoperable, affecting people's businesses, and obviously at night it becomes a public safety issue. We have sent several emails and we're in constant correspondence. It's being attributed to copper theft and these other issues, but we still don't have the lights operating. And I know our Director of Transportation and Public Works is here. In that report, if we can have those 35 lights included specifically, I and my residents would greatly appreciate it. This is just kind of one of those core basic functions. If a street light is out, it is the equivalent to me of garbage not being picked up. We need our street lights working for very obvious reasons that I don't need to belabor this morning. And if it is copper theft that is the source, we need to figure out how to mitigate, circumvent, rectify the situation. We can't just tell our residents it's due to copper theft and we can't tell you when the lights are gonna come back on. So if we can have in that report not only the lights that the department is aware of in District 8, but some sort of a plan as to when these lights go out, how we are going to get them back up and running and quickly, because 35 lights in one area, as you can imagine, is highly problematic. So thank you, Mr. Chair, for placing this on the agenda. And if it's okay with you, it's your report. If that information can be included, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Chairman?
So go ahead and include that, but
Will do.
just load it. You know, how many lights have been switched to LEDs? Where does the contract stand as far as where they should be versus where they are? Are they in compliance? Are they in default? You know, how many have been knocked down and not put back up, et cetera, et cetera?
Mr. Chair, we have all that data. We were prepared to go through it today, but probably better to put it into a report so you all can digest it and then discuss it. I will say, just through the chair, Commissioner Cohn-Higgins, we are on the issue of theft. We are working with the sheriff's office and have some detectives working on this issue. It's I remember when I was city manager of Miami Beach, we had a similar issue that we had to deal with. So, we'll include that issue as well in the report, as well as the lights that you've mentioned.
So to the attorney, and I'll recognize you now in a second, Senator, but real quick, I put it on as just a discussion item. Do we need to make any official motion directing the administration to bring back this report, or not necessary? I trust that they will, but legalese here.
I mean, it's the will of the committee that you could make a motion, or you could set it again for next month with the understanding that the administration is planning to.
Fair enough.
We will bring it to the next policy meeting.
All right, I have you on record.
Yeah, you do. Thank you.
Senator Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I guess so it's a 30-day report, or when's the next policy meeting?
It's for the next one, whatever that date is. We have it on calendar already, but
And I appreciate that, because that's where I was going to go, because there's been quite a few times that I've asked for information from the department as it relates to traffic lights. And within my district, obviously, I'm going to be parochial right now, within my district, and it's so hard to get information. You constantly have to be following up and following up, following up. I think when a commissioner asks for something in someone's district, it's for a reason. In particular, on 122nd Street and the Palmetto, there's been a slew of accidents in that intersection when you're coming down from the Palmetto onto 122nd, making a left, or making a left onto 122nd making a left onto the Palmetto from 122nd. That intersection, I've been working with the department, with the City of Hialeah Police Department, and there's been numerous accidents. A year into me being elected, I started having conversations, and I know we've had some transition, but because we've had transitions within the department doesn't mean that the residents of Hialeah and the drivers of that area deserve any less. So,
Commissioner, you're talking about a traffic light, like a traffic signal light?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that would be, this report I understand is about street lights.
Correct.
Not traffic, but we can reach out to you separately to talk about, yeah.
No, I understand, but
Okay.
it's lights nonetheless. But now that we're on this committee, I want to bring it up to make it public, where we've had an issue on that intersection for many years, and I still have not been able to resolve the issue. And it's within my district. It abuts J.C. Bermudez's district. It's right on the borderline. And if we can find now with the new director, if we can please find a solution to that area, I would truly appreciate that.
We will, I don't think that's one you need us to bring back at the next meeting. We'll
No.
reach out to your office and talk about a solution.
Appreciate
Will
that.
do. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. No, it is, but I was, the vice chair had some thoughts, but it's different. I'm sure that they'll get you that information. Yeah. All right, so no action is taken. Madam Attorney, should we take up item 1G1?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item 1G1, ordinance relating to annexations and incorporations, suspending consideration of certain proposed annexations and incorporations, creating Section 20-10 of the Code of Miami-Dade County, providing time period for expiration of annexation applications, providing for exceptions, requiring a report, providing severability, inclusion in and exclusion from the code, and an effective date. This is a public hearing.
All right, I will now open a public hearing. When I call your name, please state the item you're speaking on, which should be this one, 1G1, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak. State your name and address for the record. Richard Cooper, Richard Block from Virginia Gardens, and Mayor Maria Mitchell. is who I have. And Mayor Pepe Diaz. All right, Richard.
Good morning, honorable members, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be here this morning. My name is Richard Cooper. The address is 2655 South Lejeune Road, Suite 1014, Coral Gables, Florida. I'm the Executive Director of the Miami-Dade County League of Cities. And I was asked by my board to come and read a letter, a statement that you all were provided this morning with. And it states as follows: Dear Chairman Rodriguez and Commissioners, during an emergency Board of Directors virtual meeting on February 7th, the MDCLC Board of Directors voted to respectfully request that the BCC Committee defer the Miami-Dade County ordinance relating to annexations and incorporations. While we understand the county's financial concerns regarding the transition to constitutional officers and the potential fiscal impact of annexations to the county budget, we would appreciate allowing the municipalities ample time to understand the impact that this ordinance will have on each municipal government as well. It is our hope that during the deferral period, this process will be made clear. We welcome the opportunity to host a virtual meeting with the sponsor and our board to discuss this matter further. On behalf of the board, we thank you in advance for your consideration. Please feel free to reach out to us if there are any questions or concerns, and the letter signed by myself and the president of the Miami-Dade County League of Cities. We thank you again for your consideration. The only thing we're asking is for a deferral at this time on this particular matter.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for the record, I want to say that the sponsor, Commissioner Cabrera, has been very kind and he's been very accessible. He's attended some of our meetings. One of the virtual meetings he attended was the executive board meeting. So we appreciate his involvement with us, his participation. But due to the short period of time, we still need to have 34 cities.
Thank you, Richard.
Okay, thank you, Chairman.
Richard Block, representing Virginia Gardens, councilman, and I also am speaking on this item. And
Your address,
this
please, Mr.
ordinance-
Block?
My address is 6131 Northwest 40th Terrace in Virginia Gardens, Florida. And I'm going to tell you a story. And the story is around the county commission's merry-go-round, the annexation merry-go-round that we've been on. For 20 years, when I turned 60, and now I'm going to turn 83, I've been on this merry-go-round, along with the mayor and the people in Virginia Gardens. And there were people on this merry-go-round, Miami Lakes, Doral, Miami Gardens, Sweetwater, Medley, Pinecrest, Hialeah, Homestead, Cutler Bay. They all got their chance. And then the last three, Medley, VG, and Miami Springs. Miami Springs was told to take a seat. They couldn't be on their horse anymore. All these other people got the brass ring, and they got their annexation run through. Maybe because they were big, and they had a lot of backing on this commission. But VG is less than a square mile, 2,300 citizens. And what happened is we got stymied by 13 millionaire property owners that had no standing to even chirp according to our laws. We got stymied. And we were told we're not qualified anymore. But Medley, that put the same proposition in, word for word, they got passed through and they got their annexation. So basically, I got 17 seconds, and I say, right now, we got to be exempted from this ordinance, and we got to have our up and down vote. That's what democracy and the republic demands from you people. I'm asking you to defer.
Thank you, Councilman.
Right? And let us go through, up and down.
Mayor Mitchell?
Good morning, Chair, Commissioner Cabrera, all the other commissioners, and everyone here. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I just want to mention that we really would appreciate the time to digest this ordinance.
it came about very quickly. I don't understand, and neither do the other cities, understand the rush for it. Very often there is a rush to pass something through if there's been an emergency, if we've had a disaster. But in this case, this is an ordinance that impacts all of the cities in Miami-Dade County, 34 of them, in one way or the other. It may benefit them, may not affect them at all, or it may be detrimental to them, to their goals. And I ask that you follow the same procedure that you have in place, which is the 4-week rule for us to digest this. This is something very similar to when Commissioner Oliver Gilbert was considering the rapid transit zone. He came to the League of Cities, he let us know about it, we were allowed to have meetings on it, and ultimately, with a few adjustments to it, the League presented their position that it was acceptable to them. I'm asking for the same consideration. In this case, I see no difference with this. And I would like to say that Mr. Cooper mentioned that they had an executive board meeting. It was an emergency executive board meeting on Friday afternoon. Thereafter, an emergency board meeting again on Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock because of the rush of this ordinance. So I ask your consideration in allowing us the time to digest it, and also to consider, there was a moratorium passed in a few years back, and it was across the board, and those cities like ourselves that were in the process of that had to wait till the moratorium passed until we could continue our application. I think that this should be something, it's either a moratorium for all cities or not at all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Mitchell. And if you could say your address, please.
Yes, sir. 830 Bluebird Avenue, Miami Springs. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mayor Diaz.
Good morning. Jose Pepe Diaz, Mayor of the City of Sweetwater, 500 Southwest 109th Avenue, City of Sweetwater. The reason I'm here, obviously, we are all good friends, and we're all trying to find solutions to the future. And I understand the county works a little bit. And let's just say that I understand what's going on to a point. I understand the part of annexation and incorporation. This is something we've talked about in many different ways. And we've done some. We've had them go before the vote. They've made it, some of them have not. We created new rules in the past to make sure that the business people had a right to at least do a straw vote so the board could understand how it's going to go forward on things. But the one thing that was never done, I believe, and if the city attorneys could opine on it,
County attorney.
but I never seen the rules waived to rapid throw it the way it did. Now, has it been done? Probably. But the issue here now is that there's a lot of people at stake. And all I ask is that there's cities that don't know what the border is. Like there's 3 cities that are moving forward. God bless them. It's Doral, West Miami, and I believe another one. But there's other cities, Hialeah, right there, Hialeah Gardens, that he would like to also speak. They also want to have an opportunity, but they don't know what's going to happen if those cities, it might be a territory that they actually want. So there's been conflicting situations. And by the way, I understand you have the right to do this. I understand. It's law. We're all friends. The issue is that we need to have this deferred to be able to study a little more and not fast track it, because that puts us all in a different position. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. Just on time. I have nobody else registered to speak, so I'm going to go ahead and close a reasonable opportunity now to be heard on this item. I'll just say, and I'm going to pass it over to the sponsoring commissioner, Commissioner Cabrera, in just a second, but I would say that this, and I can't remember who it was, but it doesn't matter. I think the tone has been pretty equal across the board, is, I guess, to the emergency meetings. This is not a late filed item. I understand that we waived the rules in BCC or whatnot to make it to this committee, but this has been on the agenda for a week, which we didn't have to. Like, I could have put this on as a late item if we were playing, you know what, I love the word somebody's called politricks, right? This isn't politricks. Like, this has been on for a week. If you guys didn't catch it till Friday, I mean, then I don't know, lobby up. I don't know, like, but this has been on the agenda for a week, right? Am I wrong? Right? I think a week is plenty of time in government to get things done, certainly in private business. Commissioner Cabrera, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A question to the attorneys. Have all notice requirements been followed?
Yes, Commissioner, this was advertised as a public hearing.
And this was noticed for the previous BCC, and it was noticed also for this committee?
That is correct.
Thank you. You know, people are asking, and there's a lot to dispel that has been said. People are asking, why are we doing this? Well, there is an emergency. It's a financial emergency. You know, Commissioner Cohen-Higgins brought an item that we passed regarding hiring a company to find, you know, additional savings throughout the county. A company that did a great job at Jackson. And it's a very similar situation here. You know, we're at a pivotal point in time with the recent constitutional officers being added. You know, the county-wide and unincorporated UMPS area is projected to have a shortfall for the next 5 years. That's an issue. That UMSA area funds over 65% of the police officers that patrol our county. The sheriff recently asked for an additional $50 million, and I'm not here to debate whether it's right or it's wrong. We all want to fund our police and have safe communities. What I'm saying is that it creates a situation where if we continue to allow these areas that would support these services, not support these services, what exactly is it that we're going to do? You know, the mayor recently brought a memo on July 10, 2024, saying that these proposed annexations of commercial and industrial areas create an issue. They can create significant financial impacts for UMSA. And ultimately, and I quote, ultimately, any annexation of industrial and commercial areas will require the county's budget and operations to be adjusted to account for the reduced revenues and adjusted services. Adjusted services means less services. Let's define that. You know, and folks have talked here about how they haven't had their day and time or what have you. There were straw polls in both of the areas, because let's be clear, the Virginia Gardens and Miami Springs that are here, those are in my district. It was one of the first votes we took. The mayor vetoed both of them. Mayor Daniela Vincava vetoed both of them. We did a straw poll, and guess, of all the small businesses in the area, and guess what? 99% said no. Why should we take from Peter to give to Paul? Why should we raise taxes on small businesses to fund government that's out of control? It's not those small businesses' fault that your millage rate is through the roof. Why don't you review your finances? Why don't you figure out different ways to lower them? You know, ultimately, a lot of these are land grabs, and I'm not here to talk about annexations in my districts. No, is that the reason why we're here today? The reason we're here today, it's because of the financial health of the county, and that's why we're doing this. And a lot of people said they haven't had time to digest this. It's 8 pages. It's very simple. Unless it's an exclusively residential area, there is a moratorium on annexations. It's not that hard. If you and all the lawyers and all the members, you guys, and all the city attorneys, village attorneys, town attorneys can't figure out 8 pages in over a week, then I don't know what to tell you. That's very concerning. The county attorney's office, I'm sure, will be more than happy to help you read through it, which are one of the best law firms in all Miami-Dade County. And I'll say this, you know, I thank Mr. Cooper and President Cunningham. We spoke over 4 times in 24 hours. Privately, on their Zoom with their executive board, I've been beyond accessible. Mr. Diaz, I know, has called everybody under the moon, has not called me, the sponsor of the item. For somebody that says he has a lot of experience in county government, that's a little concerning. And when he talks about process, you know, this is a very interesting, it seems he has short-term memory. In 2021, when he rammed through his annexations, which that was a ramming through, committee was waived. And then he used his superpowers, that is for emergencies related to COVID, to put it on the agenda. So the 4-day rule will not be allowed. So if we want to talk about process was definitely not followed in that case. So we are following the process here. It was noticed multiple times. Can't say the same for previous annexations. And let's talk about previous moratoriums. Since you want to talk about process and previous stance, there's been at least 3 moratoriums, I believe. In 2005 and in 2007, Mr. Diaz seconded them and voted for both of them. Those were not because of a financial issue. Those were all power grabs in most cases. This is because of financial issues, because we are securing the finances of our county. I realize that they want to attempt to lower the millage rate in their cities on the backs of small businesses, but we're not going to allow you to do that. And here, we are protecting the county taxpayer, so we don't have to raise the millage rate that most of these areas fund to fund police services. So again, it's about the financial health of the county. I've been more than accessible, and I'd be happy to be, and I've already agreed with President Cunningham and Mr. Cooper to be on a Zoom in between now and its next time on an agenda with all of their members. I'm not hiding. Anybody who's called me, I've answered the phone, whether it was a friendly conversation or a not so friendly. Mayor Mitchell called me, and others have called, and I've always been accessible. I don't hide. I'm happy to talk. I'm happy to debate this issue because it is about the financial stability of this county. And I'm glad that the administration is also on board with this, as I've spoken with Mayor Cava, because it is important. I realize that you guys might not see the gravity of it, and you might think that on January 7th, we got 5 new constitutionals and that was it. It's not it. And you say, why is it 5 years? I'm happy to explain that. For a variety of these, including the sheriff, they have to stay on for certain services for a certain period of time. So we want to make sure is once those periods of time ends, and they either stayed on for ISD or IT or HR or even healthcare, as a self-funded government with over 30,000 employees. And I'm not suggesting that the sheriff would do something, to hurt the finances of the county. I'm not making those suggestions. I'm just saying that the possibility is there for these constitutional officers to pull out of these plans and raise the cost of whether it be healthcare, as you're self-insured. If you lose 5,000 employees, the cost goes up. So why is it 5 years? It is so we allow these time periods to pass, and we notice what did they stay with us, what did not stay with us. And we could make prudent financial decisions. At the end of the day, everybody on this board and the other, and the entire 13, we have a fiduciary duty to our county government, to its finances, and to our residents. Regardless of where I stand on annexation as a personal issue, which, as I've said before, regarding the 2 applications in my district, the small businesses, per the straw poll ordinance, were given an opportunity to voice their opinion. And they were against it. 99%. 99%. That's pretty overwhelming in my opinion. So again, I disagree with so much of the misinformation that has been said here today, and I am happy to dispel it today, any other day, and anybody else that would like to call me. Most of you have my cell phone number. Happy to talk. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I move my item.
The item has been moved by Commissioner
I second
Cabrera.
his
It's been
motion.
seconded by Commissioner Cohen Higgins. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Chairman, before we make,
Senator Garcia. You recognize?
listen, Commissioner Cabrera, I understand where you're coming from, and I'll tell you, I'll tell my friends at the League of Cities that I take a different perspective. I think we should be completely incorporated. That's just my perspective. I think the problem that we have in this county is that we are a little schizophrenic, that are we county, are we municipal government, and so forth. So I've come out on the record saying I think we should, because I represent 2 major cities, Hialeah and Miami Lakes, and have an unincorporated area to the north of it. And I see the struggles that we have with municipalities versus county. We butt heads all the times. And I think when we look at Miami-Dade County, I think we should really look at and what is the future look like for Miami-Dade County. And I, for one, tend to think we should just work on regional issues. But I do agree with you, Commissioner Cabrera, on this item, because it is a financial crisis, a financial issue that we have that we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know what the different constitutional officers, and you said it eloquently. You're right. We have these 5 constitutional officers. It's not just having this office. Are they going to break away? How much money are they going to take? What the cost is? And if we will do a disservice to our municipalities and to our county residents if we just continue along with annexations and incorporations while at the same time having budget uncertainty with our constitutional officers. So for that reason, Mr. Chairman, thank you for indulging me. For that reason is why I can support an item like this at this time.
Cabrera, you recognize?
One last thing I'll add, Mr. Chairman. It's funny how everybody's here to talk about industrial and commercial areas. Why isn't nobody talking about the residential areas? Why? Because they cost more to service. It's funny how this conversation is. If I would have said residential only, nobody would have said anything. Nobody wants the areas that's going to cost them more to service. They want to cherry pick the areas that produce revenue, so then they can lower their skyrocket millage rates that they've allowed to get out of control. What they should really do is take a look inward and do a little bit of soul searching and figure out how they can tighten their belts, the same as we're doing here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am supportive of Commissioner Cabrera's item for the reasons that he has stated, but primarily because of the financial situation that we find ourselves in here at Miami-Dade County. And we look to our municipal partners to be just that. This item says we are facing financial constraints, and we are looking to you to be partners with us the way that we partner with you on so many issues. You come to us time and time again asking us to partner with you on whatever it is that your municipalities need. Right now, Miami-Dade County is facing a financial crunch. The item does not say a moratorium until the end of time. It says allow us the time to reevaluate, look at our financials, get through this, and then we revisit the issue. So the same way that we partner with you all the time, we hope that you will see this item as an opportunity to partner with us. We anticipate that you as well will have your financial budgetary issues, and we're just trying to position ourselves as best as we possibly can. And so Commissioner Cabrera mentioned an item that I brought recently, and I said at the end of that item that I look forward to my colleagues each bringing their own versions of ways that we can save money and do everything we can so that we are not raising taxes on our residents. I see this item as being exactly that. We all have to work within our means, and so I support the item, and hopefully our municipalities will see this for what it is, a call for you to be partners with us, not an antagonistic item in any way, but just a message being sent loud and clear by this board that we are facing financial difficult times, and we need you to be partners as we continue to navigate these uncertain waters. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Very well stated, Commissioner. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cohen-Higgins,
4.
Commissioner Cabrera,
Yes.
Senator Garcia, Vice Chairman McGee, Chairman Rodriguez.
I vote yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
So item 1G1 passed. Congratulations, Commissioner. Madam Attorney, can we take up item 1G2?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item 1G2, ordinance relating to zoning, amending Section 33-193.9 of the Code of Miami-Dade County, Florida, amending provisions related to the Voluntary Workforce Housing Development Program, revising the formula for the contribution payment in lieu of construction for single-family residential neighborhoods, providing severability, inclusion in the code, and an effective date. This is a public hearing.
Public hearing is now open, but I have no one registered to speak on item 1G2. Is there anybody here to speak on item 1G2? Seeing none, reasonable opportunity. Your public hearing is now closed. Commissioner Cabrera, would you like to make a motion on this item? Second. All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Cabrera, seconded by Commissioner Cohen-Higgins. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Cohen-Higgins,
4.
Senator Garcia, Commissioner Cabrera,
Yes.
Vice Chairman McGee, Chairman Rodriguez.
I vote yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, Madam Attorney, can we take item 2A?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Item 2A, resolution relating to criminal history record checks for certain county and public health trust employees and appointees, clarifying county policy regarding the review of criminal history background checks under Section 2-30 of the Code of Miami-Dade County, Florida for current employees prior to changing job positions or transferring between departments, amending implementing order number 7-41 entitled Pre-Employment Fingerprint-Based Criminal History Record Checks, consistent with this policy, authorizing and directing the county mayor and public health trust or their designees to establish rules and procedures consistent with this policy, directing the county mayor and public health trust or their designees to provide ongoing training to designated departmental personnel to assist them in reviewing criminal history findings and vetting employees.
Commissioner Cabrera, you're recognized for a motion.
I move it.
It's been moved. It's been co-sponsored by Senator Garcia. It's been seconded by Senator Garcia. Any discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Show item 2A passed. And Madam Attorney, I think the last item is 2B, right?
Yes, 2B, resolution, I already read the title, but I can read it again if the,
Nope. If you already read it, there's no need to do it twice. Commissioner Cohen-Higgins moves the item. It's been seconded by Commissioner Cabrera. I would like to offer a friendly amendment. I know the sponsor of the item is not here, but I would like for the administration to come into an agreement with someone prior to the start of hurricane season this year. So I guess that's June 1st. So prior to then, if, I know there's a process, whether it's an RFP or however that goes, but for that entire process to be concluded and engaged into an agreement by June 1st to make sure that the residents are protected. All right. So the item moved and seconded as amended. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, nay. Show the item passed. And that concludes our meeting, right? Madam Attorney?
Mr. Chair, there is item 6A, which is just approval of the clerk's minutes.
Move it.
It's been moved, it's been seconded by Cabrera. All in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. All right, show the minutes approved and the meeting adjourned.
And a magnet will not stick. A copper pipe will be copper-colored and shiny when scratched. Older copper pipes could also potentially appear blue or green when scratched. The sound will be a metallic ringing when tapped, and a magnet will not stick. A galvanized pipe will be gray when scratched. The sound will be a metallic ringing sound when tapped, and the magnet will stick to the pipe. A lead pipe will be silver and shiny when scratched. The sound will be dull when tapped.